Good afternoon. This January 9th regular board meeting of the Yakima Regional Clean Air Agency Board of Directors will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
John Devaney,
Here.
Jose Trevino,
Here.
Vicky Baker.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Are there any additions or deletions to today's agenda? We have none. Okay. I'd like to start by welcoming Vicky Baker, newly appointed county commissioner and
Thank
newly
you.
appointed to this board. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
At this time, we will take public comments. If any member of the public wishes to address the board on a matter relevant to our business, you may do so now. Please approach the podium stating your name and the item you'd like to speak on. We do ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes. Are there any public comments at this time?
Jean Mendoza from White Swan. I'd like to address the agenda and make some suggestions. I'd like to suggest that you ask the agency to give you a report on their update to the state implementation policy, and also a report on how they're addressing risks from the composting of dead animals in the Lower Yakima Valley. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Are there any further public comments at this time? Okay, hearing none. We'll move on to the consent agenda. If you've all had a chance to review the board meeting summary for the November 2019 meeting and the monthly activity reports for November and December, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda if there are no changes.
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the consent agenda.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Thank you. Moving on to the regular agenda, Executive Director's Report. Mr. Hurley.
Good afternoon, Board Chair, board members, and the public, and welcome to our new board member, Commissioner Baker, as well. So it'll be a quick report. On November 18th and 19th, I attended the annual Northwest Air Directors meeting in Seattle. I've reported back to you that on a number of years. The meeting's hosted by EPA's Region 10 headquarters, and it provides an opportunity for the EPA, state and local air directors to come together to discuss important air pollution issues and topics. Other attendees were the air directors for the states of Washington, Idaho, Alaska, Oregon, and of course 7 Washington local air agencies and Lane Regional Air Protection Agency in Oregon. For our agency, the meeting provides an opportunity to gain early insight concerning potential federal funding issues and potential regulatory changes. This year there was nothing, significant to bring to the board individually. It was more of an update kind of thing. Federal funding is looking pretty stable is how I would describe it. So other than that, nothing else to report on that front. Attached, you have the second quarter for calendar year 2019 Air Data Quality Report from Department of Ecology, and with the sole exception of the speciation monitors, which were not audited, all the other monitors that we provide support for produce 93% valid data or greater. So we're still upholding and exceeding the 80% rate for the state and the 75% rate for EPA. You have the compliance and engineering table on the number of complaints, the number of NOVs, and the assurances of discontinuance for those 2 months. And then if you turn the page, you have the graphs for the air monitoring data for November. The first 3 graphs are the monthly PM 2.5 data for Yakima and Sunnyside, and then annual PM 2.5 through November for Yakima and Sunnyside. And then you have the PM 10 annual, and then all of those are updated for December for Yakima and Sunnyside as well. Nothing extraordinary at this point. Traditionally, January and February in a typical years when we'll see our first exceedance to the PM. So we're early in the new calendar year. And that, subject to your questions, will conclude my report for this month.
Okay. I know there was a question during the public comment period on the process of updating the state implementation plan. Did you have anything to comment on there? Or I think that was going to be covered in our February meeting work session.
Yeah, I would just say that We don't update the SIP, the Washington State Department of Ecology does, for accuracy's sake. 2, we will address updating our version of what's in the SIP through our rules, and we will be bringing our final planning report to the board in the March board meeting. I will caution that this morning I had to print up a 500-page proposed bill in the House. I'm sorry, it might have been the Senate, proposing to realign all the state environmental regulations. So how does that, what's the impact on us? Well, we're doing our rules, and if they potentially change numbers or add letters to an identification like RCW 7094, if they were to name it 70A94, we would have to take our rule, go through rulemaking to change those updates. So the rulemaking, which is kind of what that whole reference to, might get slowed down another gear to see what happens in this legislative slot, because with our lean agency, it's better to try and get the ducks in order before we have to spend money again to go back through the whole process again just to make administrative changes. So we're trying to take the most appropriate fiscal approach that we can take. Right now, it's just in the proposed stages, so, but it won't delay the March report at all.
I would think that by that time, we should know whether our bill was actually moving past cutoff as well. So,
I would think we'll know which way it's headed for sure, yeah.
there was also a question during public comment on composting of animal carcasses. My understanding is that's not something that requires a permit from us. Do you have any context for that question, though?
Well, there was a very good article that was just written in the Yakima Herald, very lengthy article. It's more the purview for the Yakima Health District and WSDA, I believe. We attended one or two meetings at the compost sites early on. As I said in the article, we've identified no ambient air pollution issues, and anybody that has questions should be referred to the County Department of Health and or the Washington State Department of Ag.
Did we receive any odor complaints related to that?
We have not identified any odor complaints specifically related to the composting.
Any other questions for Mr. Hurley?
No.
Okay, hearing none, thank you for your report. Action items, fiscal vouchers and payroll authorization transfers for November and December.
Yeah, so you have before you the November and December financials, and if you give me a minute, because I didn't insert my tabs here. So you have November and December 2019 accounts payable, and the payroll authorizations are also enclosed for your approval. The budget verification analysis, the BVA, and the supplemental income docs are included as informational items only. So we need you to take a voice vote, accept and approve by minute action the November and December 2019 fiscal vouchers totaling $82,570.46 and $119,961.18, and the November and December payroll authorizations respectfully totaling $56,609.67 and $57,233.19.
If there were no questions on those, I would accept a motion to approve the November and December fiscal vouchers and payroll authorization transfers.
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
Moved and seconded, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, it's been approved. Uncollectible debts.
Right, so for the last few years, I've been bringing these to the board. This helps us maintain our accounts payable in a relatively respectable, very respectable balance sheet, and we're not carrying debt that we know we're not going to collect on. So as you have before your resolution 2020-01 for the dismissal of the attached uncollectible debts. Under the provisions of WRC Administrative Code Part B, subsection 10.14.5, the attached list of debts have become uncollectible and as such should be removed from the list of accounts receivable YRCA last brought such action before the board in August of last year. The uncollectible debts are the results of debtors failing to pay legitimately assessed fees, fines, or penalties that YRCA is authorized under the Clean Air Act to assess. And our Administrative Code Part B authorizes the agency to dismiss such debts as uncollectible if one or more of the following reasons exist. And in this case, we identified one $1,200 penalty that has gone past the statute of limitations for collection. So we have no reasonable expectation that we'll collect on that penalty. And as you can see, it was originally listed at Evergreen for 3/13, on 3/13/2014. And so I would recommend that you approve the resolution dismissing that debt as such.
Any questions?
I have a question. So this was with Evergreen Collection? Is that
So
correct?
we wrote somebody a penalty in either late 2012 or late 2013. We followed our procedures, and then they never paid the notice of violation or never approached us to mitigate that. So we give them, I think it's 30 days, and we send them a warning letter that says if you don't come back another 10 days, we're going to submit you to Evergreen, which we're authorized to do. And then Evergreen, if they don't come back to us within that time frame, then we just do what we promised them we'd do. We forward it to Evergreen for collections. So it'll be the penalty plus Evergreen will take the penalty and add, by state law, as you know, 50% onto that and attempt to collect it. And Evergreen does reconciliation reports. It's something new, not new, but I instituted about 4 years ago. Because what was happening at the agency was, and I think John will remember this, we were collecting like a year or two of these and coming to the board with like 10 or 15, and in some cases more, where we had to have them waived. And I find that just unacceptable. It's not keeping track of the books. And as a result, you have administrative processes that have to track that as well. So we need to keep a tight book, in my opinion. So they go to Evergreen, then Evergreen reports back if they have any expectation of collecting. And if you remember, because you were here in August, we had one that we brought because it was in Vegas, and they are not
Right.
authorized to operate in Vegas. So, yep.
Okay,
Kind of a
thank
long
you.
answer, but it explains it a little more.
Sure, thank you.
Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2020-01?
I would move to approve motion I don't have the number.
Resolution.
Oh, resolution
Yes.
2020-01.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second it.
Been moved and seconded. There's no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion is approved. Other business, oh, not other business yet. Election of chair and vice chair. We do that every January. Commissioner Childress had been vice chair of this board. Doesn't automatically transfer, but it can. I'm willing to continue on as chair unless you all want someone else to take over. I'm seeing looks of shock and horror, so I am willing to continue doing it. But I do require a vice chair if I'm ever out of town to preside over these meetings.
Who's
One of you
quickest?
can step forward and volunteer, or you can throw an absent member under the bus.
If the commissioner doesn't want to do that, I would step up and do that.
That would be excellent.
Thank you. I would appreciate that.
If you would nominate the two of us to avoid the
Okay.
appearance of self-serving motions, Commissioner Baker, that would be very welcome.
Okay, then I would move to have John Devaney as chair and Jose Trevino as vice chair. Is that how they're
Yes.
worded? Okay.
I'll second.
Great, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That motion is approved. Is there any other business today before the board?
We don't have any.
All right, thank you very much. I would accept a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.